Good evening, everybody, and you're very welcome to the Young Economist of the Year 2025 Information Webinar. All of the information from the webinar tonight will be on youngeconomist.ie in the next few days. I would like to acknowledge all the partners that are involved in the Young Economist of the Year, and you can see from the logos underneath. And there's kind of a small change this year that IJA is no longer the overarching partner. They are now part of the overall partnership. So we will be calling it just the Young Economist of the Year this year. So I'd like to acknowledge the support of IJA for the past 10 years and looking forward to them being a continuing partner. So I'd like to go on to the next slide, please, Farrell. So the programme for tonight is I'm going to give a quick welcome and overview and provide just some background information. And then I'm going to hand you over to Dr. Kevin Denny from UCD School of Economics to talk about the judge's perspective. I'm then going to hand you over to Dr. Brian O'Boyle from ATU Sligo to talk about a new book chapter that has been written between myself, Brian, and Farrell, which is looking at teaching climate change through economics. And Brian is going to talk about that particular book chapter. And we have a range of resources from that chapter as well that Farrell will speak to near the end of the presentation. And then we have Dr. Christopher Sibley from the Central Statistics Office, who's going to talk to us about using data, creating clear charts and using good and trusted sources. Then we have Farrell Rice from UCD School of Education, who's going to talk to us about inquiry-based learning and the approaches that we'll be looking for in the projects. And then we have Professor Orla Doyle and Dr. Alan de Bromhead from both the Irish Society for Women in Economics and UCD School of Economics, who is going to talk to us about a project they have now about widening participation in economics. So I'll just go on to the next slide there. Thank you. So before I start, I just would like to thank the hosts of last year's award ceremony, University of Limerick, and we're very fortunate to have been joined by Minister Donoghue, who's pictured there with Professor Stephen Kinsella, and we will have all of the videos from that event up on the website. Professor Kinsella was very fortunate to be able to convince Minister Donoghue to speak at the event, and there's a lovely recording that the Minister gave a really nice speech on the day, and we'll have that on the website in the next few days. So just to give you some key dates for the diary. So tonight is the official launch of the project. The submission of projects will be on or before Monday, March 3rd. And then the awards day this year will be in ATU, the Knocknacarra Arena in Sligo on Wednesday, the 7th of May. Okay. So there's some key resources that we wanted to point out, and all of tonight's videos and resources will be on youngeconomist.ie/resources. And a key resource is the marking rubric. So this is just the screenshot of the marking rubric that we just, I'm not going to go through it in detail, but it's very important that when you are working with your students around creating projects, where we still want creativity. We don't necessarily want projects curtailed to kind of essay style. There have been a lot of essay style that we welcome those, of course, but we will take projects in various different modes. We want this to be very diverse, and we want students to be able to represent their learning in a variety of different formats. But whatever format they choose, it must be underpinned by their showing their knowledge and understanding and application of economic concepts. So the rubric is there to guide that. And while a lot, we have in our archive quite a number of diverse projects, so you can see that we are very open to looking at projects from a variety of different formats. That's very important. We really want to keep this very creative as well and not curtail it to any one particular format. But the evaluation criteria is very important to keep an eye on from the outset. Okay, Farrell, if you want the next one. So again, we do have a lot of the top projects from the past number of years on our archive at youngeconomist.ie/YEOTY archive. So that would be a very good source. We also want to really ensure that people, that you as teachers work with your students in conducting research that is ethical and that is using trusted sources. We will be updating our how to conduct research resource, which is on the resource page on the website, with reference to how we will deal with AI, because obviously students, we would welcome ethical use of AI, but we want to ensure that projects aren't just going to be created just by ChatGPT. So we want to make sure that we're going to update our how to conduct research with reference to the impact of using AI. If you go on to the next slide, please, Farrell. We also want to remind you of some of the other nice resources that we've collected over the years, and the critical thinking cheat sheet, because we want to promote critical thinking and we want students using the whole Bloom's taxonomy range of thinking as well. So some nice resources that we have. We have a Padlet with all of these resources that are on the resource section of the website, but just kind of reminding people, we do have a collection of resources from the past number of years where economists from the various universities involved in this have created some lovely videos, and they're all still there. That's one on economic inequality. We had one on the minimum wage. We have one on, if you want the next one there, Morel, climate action and climate change. So they've all been developed and they're still very timely. So just want to encourage you to maybe use those as a source of inspiration for your students as well. If you go on we also want to just remind you of the core econ as a very good open source resource. Just remind people that is really an excellent resource. And we're on to the next one. That's the same again, the core econ. This is another nice game on how to teach inflation. Go on to the next one. There's nice resources there from the Europa EU website as well about inflation as well, price stability. And then keep going there, Morel. And this is an excellent resource. It's from the Economist Foundation, and it's topical talk. So there's a range of resources there that are very timely, because each week they produce new resources. So if you go on to the next one there, Morel, this is one about the cost of living. So it's actually lesson plans you can use with your students, but again, it might be a source of inspiration for projects. If you go on to the next one, that's again just showing you the way that the global food crisis, very timely as well, showing the way that's laid out in their resources. You go to the next one there, Morel. And then there's one on kind of greener food choices. So again, there are a lot of topical issues, but we want to make sure the students look at the kind of economic concepts within all of these different concepts. So I think, Morel, that we might just flick through just to remind people, I don't want to spend too long, might just flick through the slides, just give people a flavour without talking too much about them. Just keep flicking through them all there. Again, the climate action book, we want students to look at alternative, models for economics. Of course, donut economics is something that is getting a lot of traction now as well. So that's a nice resource there, looking at how to use that. And then keep going, Morel, just keep going through them. And this just, again, some resources that you might want to use in your classroom. If you go back to the previous one, Morel, yeah, this one here, just a nice game on freerice.com. They've actually included a new section now on economics. So these are just some ideas for classroom resources, but also they might provide some inspiration for your students. So I might come out there, Morel, just giving a flavour of some of the resources. And if you want to come out there now, we'll put that up on the website for your perusal in your own time.